Guess what? We finally came to a time when I did something in my project, okay, that most men will not like because of time travel and how everything works and all the points. I will show you something else about the four. Something about the four will tell you that if perfect man is four, there must have been someone before, because before is rejuvenation of the pollination of the four. Therefore, I will show you the four in all directions. Thus, this is only the four of the north, the east, the west, and the south, and the same four of the man who told you all these stories. The problem is, the picture that this four tells you is not a nice picture, because this is the four that we all see in the four directions. That is the swastika, which means to swat away. And that's what happened to man. And it turned his triangles into other sorts of directions of angles, with the center point always leaning to the same way. So the fours are drawn, not in the proper direction of the face they look to be to count what they count for, but in the position they were to be so that each side was the same, because they're all a four. But in this four, it's not for man. So it's not for you or anybody else. You see, I am a four, and the good fours are the good fours, and the bad fours are the bad fours. And this swastika makes up for the death and the reason for Hitler. And Hitler was not the reason at all for anything. It was all made up and put into a mind because of somebody else, because somebody didn't explain to him something properly about life. Hitler, Keller till. What time is it? It's Hitler. Let's hit the time. Let's hit the road. Like when it doesn't go quick enough, we just hit it. And if we hit too much and we get too angry, they just lock us up. Because no matter how good our words might be that we speak, our action speaks louder than our words, and the action we take is dangerous. So the director of the government takes you up and puts you in a jail to stop down your actions. Then you're fucked up, because the mind can do a lot, but you can't move to do anything with it but speak, whether you're in a place that no one is there with you. And if they're there to listen to you, they want you to bend over for any other reason but to listen. As long as you got something to give them, they'll take any hole. And that's why the jails are changed and mixed up with the men, because we fucked ourselves up, so we may as well fuck ourselves all the way. And that's why all the guys in jails just want to get screwed, because they screwed everybody else, so they may as well screw the rest over, because they're in jail too. So they should live with one, and one should teach them what they know, and they should do what they did, because they're stronger. And when you're stronger, you end up bending and molding to that way. So when they stick it in the back end, it opens up and it shapes, and therefore it must feel good. And that's the reason it feels good, no matter where it comes in. Once the penetration is done, it doesn't matter by what. It's all in the speed and the point of the matter, because if the point was round, it would go around, and it would be easier, and it wouldn't have to poke right through. You understand the way it works? Because it works just the way it does. And I tell you the story exactly the way it is, because I have no other story to tell you but the truth. Because every story I hear that I repeat can only be the truth, otherwise it would be my story. And I know nothing without the eye God, or the eyes that I have to see, so I can explain the story I see here on earth. So the story can be explained the way I see it, through my way, in the E-world. From the man who made the eye and gave us the eyes to live in the E's, and the eyes to dot, so that we can travel around it and come back. Like traveling around the earth in a plane, or going up to the moon. Like the moon is the sky, and the sky has to cry, so the moon may be an eye, because the sky does cry, because when it gets cloudy, and it gets too cloudy and gray and really dark, the water falls. But when the water falls, there's different sizes, and when it's stretched out, followed by another little piece of a droplet, That is the dot on top of the line that is falling. One is falling before the other. Someone is following. They're going in the right direction together. And if the wind blows, they still go the same way because the wind is blowing the same way, thus pushing everything in the same way. So if everything is the same shape and the wind is the same thing, depending on your position, you'll go that way, and that's the way you'll go. And that's the decision of the wind. But on the earth, man has the decision of the wind. So the man's mind is the wind that blows him in the direction he chooses. That is it for now. It is 5:11 and 7:26. I'm going to McDonald's, the 2 M's, another connection, for breakfast, to get some coffee, to work my mind, to wake me up. Because the calf, again, the calf from the Hebrew, and the fee that it costs, in the inn for the caffeine, the fee or the mean, the two sides of both stories. You're still going in somewhere, but how beautiful is the inn? From the outside you can see one thing, but we can't see in. Although there are lots of windows and we can walk in through the door, what are we walking into? Be careful you don't walk into trouble, because if trouble's there, it's going to be difficult, because he makes it difficult for everybody. So if you don't think right and you don't tell the truth, and he finds out, you're in real big trouble. The truth will really get you into trouble now. So you got to watch out whether you really want to tell the truth to who's in there. So now you have to be wise, and that's where the purity of man comes in, because he has to lie just to protect his own self and everybody else around him. So he lies to the liar, making 2 wrongs a right. Therefore, minus and minus does make a plus. Is that how it's worked out in this world when you have to save yourself? You're not hurting anybody. In fact, by making the minus, you're not minusing anything at all. You're saving everybody, so therefore everybody is there. So in your situation, you keep everybody there, and it's a plus. The reason for one of the pluses and one of the minuses. Because when you disappear, you are gone, and you are the minus. But no one would know, so it wouldn't exist. And then therefore the minus wouldn't exist, and you wouldn't know for it. So the straight line of the minus wouldn't exist, and the straight line wouldn't have a reflection. So it would be equal to nothing, therefore the man wouldn't exist, and all wouldn't exist. So without the 4, 6, 5, 1, 3, and 8, without the 9 and the 10 that starts everything over, without the understanding of how everything works, we would never understand anything at all. And the reason to be nice, but even as I know all of this, I feel like crying because I still want to go to the racetrack, because I know everything now. But at what point will I turn away from God? Because I don't want to turn away from the truth, because I want to go to my angel, because I know the rocket ship will ride fast, and the faster it goes and the more bumps you have, the roller coaster ride is the more fun of the amusement of part, for the amusement of all man. And the earth is his park, and he parked his car, but he better listen to all the rules, because you're in somebody else's park, just like the animals in the park. And if you go into their area and they hit you or bite you, it's your fault. You went into their park like they went into your house. So if they shit on the floor, you'd be pissed. So if you go in there and make them move from a position they're in because they're planning something, well, they'd be pissed. And if you don't respect them, then God would be pissed. And if God is pissed and you say big deal, your angel is pissed because now you don't care anymore. So then you have no friends at all. So your 6s and 7, which makes the luck of 13, now 13 is unlucky. You see, you can make it lucky yourself if you know how to use it. It's all in our minds. We have to figure it out. What are we figuring out and why? And what is life all about? Well, if it's a roller coaster we want when life starts over, then you know what? Up to the age of 14 or 13, I'll go on that roller coaster. But after that, what happens? Do I get to create and build, and will I be happy with building, being a construction worker, as Jesus came into the world in construction, as I sold wood, as I was hard as wood, and I hardened myself to where I didn't want to speak to anybody, and I told lies to myself because losing all that money was okay when it was never okay, but it really didn't make the difference to me, because the only thing that made the difference is that when I was AINE, old, aim, and incapable, I just want that to take care of me. Otherwise, I don't need it. I like food, I like vacation, but you know what? With wings and purity, how much more do you need? You understand the truth, so you don't ask for much more. And then again, sometimes it's good to ask for a little bit more, because you never know. A little bit more is sometimes good, and sometimes good a little bit less. Thus, God let us have the chance to have a little bit more of a thought, or a little bit less of a hunger. But man had too great of a hunger and stood up face to face with man as though he stood up face to face with God. And if you do that, you want to change his game? I don't think he wants to change his ways, because his ways work. And that's the way it is. His way, your way, or the highway. Well, you know what? I'll listen to my mother and I'll listen to my father if they tell me how come. How is good and the come is good. The how of the come, you see, without the come and the how, without the egg, which is the little white ball in the middle of the roulette table, without those two, the come and the egg, you put them together, one pokes the other, and together they become one, because everything in the world becomes one and attaches, and that's why you grow a son from the letter of who you are. So if you put two letters together, you get a third letter. One letter is you, one letter is her, and one letter is Donovan, the son, making three, and including God, you have 4 of the 6 days of whom man is all about, and 4 times 6 is a complete day, so you now included God, which is your Father, in the time of your thinking, and He is there, and that's how you got the 24 hours, because the 24 hours aren't alone without everybody, so you have to understand what the use of everything is. Everything has another leading towards something, the guide of the horse and the sheet over the head, and it's a guide, and the more and closer we want to just look, so the guide is closer, so it looks like you can't see anything, and now we look distorted, and now it looks like the picture doesn't really take up the face, like in the old TVs, when you work and you go a little bit darker, 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 until you hear the same voice, until you see the same clothing from the same person who you thought, except the person who thought right. You see those teeth in the dark? You see? In the dark you see the white teeth and you get scared. But the white man, you don't get scared. And the white man was scared of the dark. So they killed the dark by killing the dark-colored man as he thought. He was different. And he was scary. His smell was different, and of course it was different. You kicked him hard enough that you broke something that'll smell forever. And the smell is so when you stand next to him, you'll remember what you did with him. Therefore, the smell is because of you, and to remind me of what you did, except he has to live with it. And it's your fault and you did it, but he still lives with it. So now he's got soul. And that's why they dance well, these black people, because God gave them something more, because of what the man took away from him. You see, the black person has more soul, because he understands more, and the soul is everything. It is almost like the dot. And the soul is the earth. In French is soul, or is that in Spanish? So we have to have a soul to have something to stand on, otherwise we are floating, and the gravity will pull us down. Gravity, something that is grave, and tea is good, and if you put the wrong things together and you make the wrong formula, it just blows up, and we've seen that before because we've been blowing up the whole world. And very soon we'll blow ourselves up, because that's what man was made for, to blow everything up, to make a bigger story. So the story is so big you can't see the end, it's all distorted, it turns into a fable. So we turn everything much larger until it pokes and bursts and busts. So God gave us everything that we had to make. That happened again. So we have the egg and the sperm runs through the egg. He busts it, he joins it, he changes it into something else that grows inside of you. The man forced it on you. All you had is a little egg of a world that wanted something a little more. And you gave it nothing because you were ready to feed it with the period. Every month you are ready to feed it with the 3 days. And the 3 days of the cycle, the major part of the cycle, is the man, or the E part of the game, and the I part of the game, and the angel. And those are the 3 days you have a chance to get pregnant. Otherwise than that, you need a lot of luck. Because what's everything without the God? He didn't make the angel who made the man. So you need the whole 3. That's why the 28 days in the month and the other 3 make 31. And sometimes you just don't need any help from anybody. So those months will be 30. So that's why September is only 30, because I don't need any more help this month. Because it's coming right in here. So maybe this month should be the 31, because I'm getting the help. So there is the one more. So what's happening here? You see, this is 30, but it's really 31. So the 30 days, September, 30 days as September, April, June, and November. So that's 4 of them. 4 and 8 make 12. The man is 4. But we need 8. You have to double it up. We need actually